All right. Okay, the time is 6 o'clock. I'll call to order the July 23rd meeting of the Huxley City Council. Roll call, please.
Roberts. Here. Etcher.
Here.
Rigler.
Here.
Mulder. Murphy.
Here.
Let the record show that Mulder is absent.
All right, need a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please respond with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Abstentions none, motion carries. Now is the time in the agenda for public comment. Is anybody wishing to speak on any agenda items this evening? Work session will be dealt with separately. But any agenda items anybody wishes to speak on? Seeing no one rise, need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Give me a second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Murphy.
Yes.
Etcher.
Yes.
Roberts. Yes. Rigler.
Yes. Moving along, I need a resolution to approve the service agreement with Kruk Plumbing, Plumbing and Heating Company.
Give you a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion. Is there an overview on this one?
I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I met with them. They came in and actually toured the place, looked at all plans. Really feel like they have a very good understanding of the building and are willing to dive deeper into things and actually work with us and let us know what's going on at all times.
Does this prolong the need to replace any of the equipment that was discussed recently?
So still gonna get 3 bids for the one up by the library that's not working properly. Small one. The small one.
Does this
and then I think smart thing would be is to get 3 bids for individual rooftop units, but have them kind of go through and decide which one of them is going to be a need first, and then we can kind of work from there if it isn't. So.
Just wanted to add also that this price of the $9,700 is the annual price, which was about what it was going to cost us a quarter per with the other vendor. Just wanted to add also
That just means we're on our own for maintenance, right? If I'm reading this correctly.
for any repairs. Yeah.
Did they give you any kind of solutions to our problems, like as maintenance wise?
Filters get changed.
That's it?
No, I mean, that was the start of things. If we, filters up on the roof that have been changed since 2021. So we definitely have to get what we're
Okay,
paying for.
so we were doing a service contract and the filters weren't even being changed? Okay, thank you.
They look at every individual unit. They kind of look through them, look at belts, look at belt sizes, all that stuff. And I think that they would be able to provide us future needs, that type of thing.
Okay, had a motion and a second on that. Roll call, please.
Etcher.
Yes.
Rigler.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
Motion carries. I need a motion to approve the purchase of a Caterpillar track loader.
I'll give you a motion.
I'll second. This was before us recently for discussion. Any additional discussion or questions of council at this time?
Just for, sorry that I don't remember. We are purchasing both at once, the truck and the trailer. Is that what we decided? Okay.
Yes.
Skid-loader truck. Yep. All right, thanks.
Okay, roll call, please.
Murphy,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Rigler.
Yes. Yes.
Motion carries. Need a motion to approve the purchase of a trailer from Thomas Bus Sales.
Roberts. Yes. Rigler.
I'll give you a motion.
Second.
Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Etcher,
Yes.
Rigler,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Moving along, department reports. Any specific items to discuss on this evening? Heather?
So last week, or last council meeting, you had asked a couple questions regarding the splash pad. So these are the responses to those questions from Forest and also from Aquatics. So that's the email from Diane Witt from Aquatics. So just want to make sure we updated you on that. So on that front page, you'll see that Forest responded that there will be an ADA ramp from the parking lot to the sidewalk. And then he also listed on the email that he'll extend the sidewalk to the southeast corner of the parking lot to the existing sidewalk along Main. Any clarification that you have on that as far as it's already an ADA acceptable, but you're gonna add that sidewalk to the plan? Any clarification that you have on that as far as it's already an ADA? And then in regards to the mechanical system building, there are no Iowa locations as of yet. It's a newer model, as it says on point 1, is perforated metal and whether for the 30 panels are perforated versus solid. And it talks about that. I'm not gonna read all that to you. And it's been successful for it was installed in 2021, so this is first season. So that's the information that she had given, and then she gave a reference point for somebody in Minnesota. I think those address all the questions that were specifically asked. So follow it up on that. Any further comments or questions?
I guess maybe just, I think 2 questions here. Currently, there are restroom facilities.
Correct.
I believe the building code, which the city of Huxley has adopted, will likely require additional facilities and showers
There will be showers required because this is a pool,
as well
but
as
that will
state
be an
requirements.
external shower on site.
Gotcha. It's a separate thing.
Yeah,
The current restroom facilities, is it just one water closet and one lav per gender?
yeah.
I think you'll want to take a look at that. I don't believe that that's likely going to meet our currently adopted building code, which is a 2015. It's a pretty old code. So take a look at that. And then the second thing, the vendor for the equipment. I know you've had discussions with various vendors. I appreciate you doing that. At what point will council be reviewing like proposals from those vendors? And I know it might not be an apples to apples bid that we'd be reviewing, but
I believe that will
Where-
come to after all the constructions are drawn up and it will go for bid.
okay, I didn't know how specific the construction design would be to the vendor, but apparently not, which is fine.
All the constructions are drawn up.
We usually try and design around one vendor, and then we allow other vendors to also bid on it. And sometimes they have things that they do different, but then that's okay. We adjust accordingly. What we see it most is the splash pad features, for example, different colors or different types of buckets or whatever. But we try done, so at least we have a base that we're getting.
Perfect. Thanks for those responses.
And then I believe it was Corey who had a question about where the tree grant was sitting at. So tree board met on Monday and we also had more discussions with Jeff and Matt. So the tree board is pursuing trees in the right of way on Ridgewood Drive. So letters are being written and sent out. And then what we do from this point is we invite all the residents to come to a meeting, which is August 12th. And at that point in time, they can ask any questions, give feedback. That's a larger road. So we don't have specifics as far as where those would be located yet, because it'd be approximately 50 trees. But we have been told that that is a clear area. It sounds like most of the new construction is going to be having this tiled drainage. So that's going to become an issue for future. It would be great if somebody could talk to the government and have them give us grants for trees in homes as opposed to just in city and public property. But that is where we are currently pursuing. So that is in response to that follow-up question. So Ridgewood all the way from Centennial Drive to Timberwood, or Timberlane, excuse me. There are 41 houses on both sides of that road. That is where we are. Those will all get personal invitations to come to that meeting and then we'll go from there.
Heather, you want to give a quick update on the elevator, please?
Elevator went out of service yesterday. Otis was called. Otis showed up today and it's been an issue that we've had ongoing. We talked about it probably about a year ago. And it looks like that they were not able to get it fixed and operating today. So it looks as if we are going to be out for a couple weeks. We did sign something for them to fix the starter unit, which has the contactor in it, which they said would remedy the problem and get the elevator operating again. They do also have 2 other estimates that are in there for further work, but we believe that this one thing will be fixing it, but the operating, the elevator is currently not in service. So it could be a week or 2 minimum. They do also have 2 other.
Do we have a maintenance on the elevator yearly?
We just have, yearly checks. Yeah, I think it's actually
Just a
bi-yearly.
check, but no maintenance.
No.
Inspection.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so we probably need to do some kind of annual maintenance to it also. I mean, so what is this gonna run us now?
This piece of equipment's about 6,600
Mhm.
installed. It was one of those, we know it's over the $5,000 threshold, but there are very limited opportunities to find those parts. And with it, this building being a public building and the ADA with the library upstairs, we felt it was imperative to just go ahead and get that part ordered and get this fixed as soon as we could. We certainly can reach out to Otis to see if they do have a kind of a service agreement that they can come and, do the checks other than just the annual inspection that we're required to do. But
What is life expectancy of an elevator? I have no clue.
Well, just to give you an estimate, I don't have the answer, but all of the equipment that is on our elevator is currently obsolete. So anytime we replace it, there's nothing to replace it with that is matching what it is right now. So that the other piece that they're talking about is 19,000 for the 3rd bid. I think it was like 43,000 for the 2nd bid, because they're all the hardware pieces. So this is a small component that's in the mechanical closet that controls the main system that this one piece is. But they have talked to us over the years about getting the oil checked or the oil replaced. And then different people that we've talked to said that because we don't use the elevator as much, that oil is not, and he looked at it today and said it was fine too. So we haven't pursued that.
So I'm looking at, everything is obsolete on this thing. I mean, when are we gonna have to replace the whole elevator? And then, with that being said, an annual maintenance and upkeep of that.
we can certainly visit with the folks
Mhm.
on this and get an idea of what the life expectancy, of the elevators are, see what kind of a maintenance program they could offer, and then price out and see what the elevator, I think, say the last elevator, just for a community center, no quote, but I want to say,
And I will say they do have a Wi-Fi attachment in the closet, so they can monitor it. So he was able to check off-site, and then he just came and confirmed and did some towing with it. But they do have a software system that does monitor the one unit. So they can monitor it. He was able to check off-site, and then he just came and confirmed. But they do have a software system that does monitor. Correct.
Correct. That's why we went ahead and got this hard order today to try to get it fixed as soon as we could, because we do know we've got a number of folks that utilize that elevator to get to the library.
Thank you. Heather.
Thank you.
Fire.
Nothing really, other than, I guess we do have our first responder vehicle that hit a deer a couple weeks ago is being repaired right now. I'm sure we get that back in another week.
Matt.
East Third Street project's getting underway. They've done some potholing, kind of got a plan together, met with Keith today, go over how they're gonna tie it to the water main portion of it. And then, that gets done, then we'll start paving portion of it. They cut some side, they cut the driveways today, where they're gonna be digging through and all that stuff, that's them on site, go over that today. The issues out at, Plat 4, haven't been resolved. They have put extra check dams in, and kind of made a basin, a silt basin, that we recommended for them to do. And looking at doing the inspection today, that they're like, really working hard out there, and they're moving right along. And a lot of the water problems, I think, are becoming solved as they put as they were gonna put the storm and stuff in, as they get things connected. I think there's probably some tiles out there that might be broke that they're gonna find, that they're gonna get hooked in, and I think that'll take a lot of that groundwater issue and put it into the storm basin and get directed places it needs to be. I think they're doing a very professional job out there, and they're willing to work with us at any time that we have a problem with them. Got a skid loader on scene that they've been almost daily running up and down the street, keep it clean. Obviously, there'll be some climb dust and things that will still be there. It is a construction site, so.
With that, do you monitor that pond behind the two houses that was part of, I don't know if it's called Plat 2 or Plat 3? It was supposed to be a cul-de-sac, and then they ended up splitting it into two properties, and there's a pond back there. You know where I'm talking, off of, be to the east of Ballard, to the north of the church.
1001 Tower, there's two big houses.
Yeah, so those ponds were turned over to the property owners. But we do monitor as far as the effluent of the stormwater going out and into the culverts and that kind of thing.
So it's up to the property owner to maintain that pond then?
Yeah, I've been watching for the silt stuff. I mean, even with the best erosion control that you could possibly put out there, you're gonna get a little bit of erosion.
Yeah. The only reason I was asking is they contacted me and asked me about the issue. I went and looked at it, but I told them that their best bet's to come talk to the city about it, because I'm not the guy to talk to about water.
Right.
But I was just curious, they're concerned about what's going on.
Absolutely.
And I told them I didn't know who actually owned the thing. I actually asked Dave about that.
Yeah, they own it, but I do monitor, what's running off that whole project for sure. We got the baskets there. I mean, they've done more than what they're required to by the permit. I mean, yes, they're supposed to control their sediment, but they've done any bit that we've asked and will do what we still.
No, and that's fine. I just wondered if that pond, because that was another concern of sediment and stuff that's down in there, so.
Thank you, Matt. Forrest.
I just gonna comment that both in Westview Heights and Anthem, both subdivisions. They're laying a lot of pipe, making a lot of progress on getting those projects on.
Thank you, Matt. Forrest.
Long ways to go, of course, but they're making a lot of progress.
On Westview Forest, and I was gonna ask you a couple meetings ago, but I haven't seen you. Is that gonna be a permanent water basin where that is next to the properties?
No, that will be.
And they got a plan to get rid of it?
Yes, they have storm sewers and intakes in the bottom of those that will take the water. You know, the water will not receive. They're just using it as a sediment basin right now to catch everything, but when they're done, there will be no standing water with an intake in the bottom.
Okay, thank you.
Please.
Nothing additional.
Thank you. Thank you. Barb?
We have the fiscal 23 audits here. We thought we would wait and distribute those when the fiscal year 24 audits are completed so that you'll be able to see the difference. There's not a lot that changed from fiscal year 22 to 23. We'll hopefully be starting that fiscal year 24 audit in August or September.
David? He's good?
The only I'd say is that I talked to the contractors on this first, but right now they're still on schedule, so far as, so he's thinking maybe in August, those first things. So not behind on schedule, so. Schedule, that's the big question, but everything is on schedule as far as they're concerned, so. Otherwise.
I would just note that this Thursday, we've got a coordination meeting with the DOT here at 8 o'clock from 8 to 10. Forrest and Jeff and Matt and I are going to meet with them is to talk about all the things going on in this area. Just note that I read an article the other day that most of the construction out between Ankeny and Huxley is going to go through 2029. So I'm hoping that some of this discussion we'll hear is what all that entails and how we're going to work together to, you know, keep traffic going. I did express the concerns to the engineer or the assistant district engineer that Tracy had about the traffic out by 210. He was running that to see with his folks in the field. I still have not heard back from him. So if he's a part of this coordination meeting, I'll see if he's got any thoughts on that as well. But he was going to talk to his folks in the field to see what they were seeing as well. So he was running that.
Will they put that exit ramp first?
He's part of this coordination.
All that just stays right down the bridge to that on 210.
Yeah, thoughts on that as well, but he was gonna talk to his folks. I don't know for sure, but we can certainly ask them. I would, I'm trying to think of Elkhart, you know, yeah, I mean, the, you know, the ramps were the last things to go in and then it took forever to grade them and get them seated. And the last time I was by there, which was over the weekend, I think the northbound onto 35 was still closed.
No, they're all open.
It is all open now? Okay.
Yeah, they're all open.
Okay.
Road closed on the.
Northbound?
But it's an extension.
Oh, okay.
So, but the ramp is still.
I didn't go up and I didn't see any cars coming down, so I thought that piece was still closed. Okay, perfect.
I would just ask them if an option to do the exit ramp, like how many of those would be interested in that?
Okay.
With the-
I didn't go up, I didn't see cars coming down, so I thought.
So, but they're not gonna close that one until the other one is open.
Oh, First Street.
Yeah, the Cambridge Bridge is open, because I mean.
Yeah,
Fire rescue.
that was our discussion with the school district and with fire, and we provide police service, we could have both closed at the same time.
Exactly.
29 is just around the corner.
Mr. Murphy?
Nothing further.
Mr. Rigler?
Nothing additional.
Etcher? Roberts? Just two comments from the mayor this evening. One, looked like the party in the park was well attended. So appreciate your efforts on that, Heather. Looked like a great event. It was neat seeing the hot air balloon. That was a great idea, a great event. So The second thing I've got, this is, I guess, kind of a notice to council members. There was a change to the Iowa law this last legislative session, as there were many. One of them requires that we provide the opportunity for government board members to participate remotely if they so desire. So if you're on vacation or whatever you might be, if you wish to participate, as we always have, that opportunity will be made available to you. My belief, my reading of that law would indicate that that extends to all government boards. So planning and zoning, park, tree, it doesn't seem to be limited. I would look to Amy, is that?
That's how it's interpreted. That is correct. And that said too, I think the Iowa Public Information Board has made the decision that in the event that you have a council member or board member that is going to be calling in remotely, you have to open that up to the public also. Now, if you don't, if you're all here and no one is calling in remotely, you don't have to have that opportunity for the public to also call in. But once you open it up to a council member or board member, then it has to be open to the public.
And planning and zoning's been doing that since COVID.
And during the winter, there's 5 or 6 months that we do Zoom meetings with our couple of gentlemen who go south of them.
Sure. If you could just make sure the board chairs for ZBA, P&Z, tree, parks, whomever, at least if the chair is aware of that requirement, that would be great. That will conclude our regular business meeting this evening. We do have 2 work session items this evening. The first is fireworks. I'll afford you the opportunity to speak first if you'd like, ma'am. That will conclude our regular business meeting this evening. We do have 2 work sessions. First is fireworks. I'll afford you the opportunity to speak first if you'd like, ma'am. Thank you very much. I also did receive an email from a resident in the Meadowview development area. She echoed a lot of the same sentiments as the speaker. She thought potentially limiting the number of hours per day might be beneficial as well. So maybe it's 8 to 10 at night instead of 9 in the morning till 10 at night. So just make you aware of that. Comments from council members?
I would say just one of my concerns off the just off the cuff is the 4th of July doesn't always happen on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And unfortunately, not everybody gets the 4th of July off work. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that still end up working during that time frame. So I understand the 7 days, that if it falls on a Tuesday, for instance, that you may want to celebrate on a Friday or Saturday with the family or whatever the case. So I'd be a little bit concerned with that. Just looking at how that would fit into a calendar. But I don't have any problems with maybe scaling back the hours. 9 in the morning to 10 at night might be a little extreme. But again, I'm not a fireworks shooter, so I wouldn't be a good one to speak on that.
I would just echo what you said. We picked 7 days because of the reasons that you stated. 7 days on. But yeah.
So coming from the law enforcement aspect, and Nate, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is, ma'am, it's hard to enforce this because the law enforcement to issue a citation, we actually have to see, or we have to have a witness that identifies a person that is shooting off the fireworks too. So changing the time and the dates and stuff, I don't think is gonna affect the actual problem. The enforcement of it is a problem. It's hard to enforce. We can change it, but even enforcing those days that now we went from 7 days to 3 days, trying to enforce those days and then times, it's difficult, you know? And when you ask people, when, like, if I ask you to be as a witness, people kind of shy off of that. So, and then for Nate and his officers to actually see it, once they see a patrol car coming down the road, it goes into silence. There's not another one gone off. So it's a difficult situation. And I don't have a problem with cutting it down to 3 days, but I don't think that's going to be a solution. I think they're going to still fire them off on those days that we don't have it. And I think the problem is in enforcement. So I don't know what the answer is. So you have to understand that people have to be witnesses, and then the officers have to actually see the person shooting off the fireworks to enforce it. So
we don't
you have to understand.
make changes.
I think we can make change. I'm all for making changes. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think that's gonna solve the problem. I think they're still gonna shoot them off in them time periods that they're shooting them off now. It's an enforcement issue. And it's a hard issue to enforce. I mean, you check with Des Moines PD, they're having the same issues. They did drop the fines down considerably this year. So the officers are making more efforts to enforce it. But again, you have to actually see the person shooting off the fireworks before you can do a violation.
Perhaps that information could be added to the city ordinance or somehow notify the citizens so we know that's what we have to do in order to get enforcement. I have video of my neighbor.
Yeah, so, and that would be great if you have video, but I'll be honest with you. You will be called to testify because, and it's fine with you, but a lot of people have reservations about that. But so that's what I want you to understand. And then when you're talking to people, they need to understand that too. I don't have a problem with cutting it down to 3 or 4 days, but we just need to have the reality of, we cut it down to 3 or 4 days, it's still gonna be shooting off 7 to 8 days. But it's our enforcement.
I really respect your opinion on that, I do. But I think not trying to change something.
I agree with you totally there, so.
Yeah, I actually live on Ballard, so relatively close to you. I have 2 dogs that get stressed, so on a personal level, I sympathize. I wear where I do think it maybe takes a little research or will take some discussion is I'd be interested what neighboring communities are doing. Tracy, you mentioned you remembered when the change was made. Usually we look at what neighboring communities are doing and try and mirror some of that and make sure it makes sense for Huxley. So I'm open in reducing it. I don't like restricting what people can do just to restrict it, but I think there's some merit to if we can knock it down to 5 or 3, knowing that people are probably gonna fudge that on either side a little bit. And I don't expect Nate or his guys to catch everyone. I was also a teenage boy who was lighting fireworks and not getting caught at one point in my life. So, yeah, transparently, I sympathize with the law enforcement side and how it's gonna be hard to enforce, but I'm more than open to the discussion of it, so.
Speaking to a little bit about the history of this, I served on council, of course, when this was adopted. I don't think the council had the benefit of being able to survey communities because we were all in a scramble mode. The law got changed. It allowed for, was it 10, 12 days of fireworks, somewhere like that. So we were more restrictive than that. But didn't have the benefit of surveying other communities. So certainly that would be good information now, if that would help you make some considerations.
Survey, it would be a good idea. I think you are on my side of, anything, I know just had one day. As a couple, Des Moines and the metro area mostly had no. So I think that's correct. So you might want to just do a survey, but you were correct that no one knew what to do at that point in time. So it was just pick a number and see what worked.
I think at that time,
We just happened to be busy with the work going on.
Kind of curious, Heather, maybe you can answer. So some of the big cities like Des Moines has a major problems in the parks. Have we had any damage? I know Grimes had some and.
I haven't heard anything else. I received for
That's good. Thank you.
I've seen remnants of it, out at the county park and that. They blew them up and left their garbage behind. But I don't know now you see beer cans and stuff every morning, where people leave them behind too, so. Yeah, I'm not advocating that we quit selling beer in the world because you got a few bad actors.
But again, that's an issue that you have to actually catch the person in the act.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
I'm open to looking at all sides of things.
Okay, I appreciate this.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, one of the, what we did in Atlantic was we changed our ordinance so that the days that fireworks could be discharged changed every year, and it was changed by resolution. So in May, the council would decide, okay, the 4th is in the middle of the week, what days are we going to allow fireworks? And that was on little flyers everywhere, but that's what we did there, was we changed the ordinance to allow that to change each year.
That's an interesting concept.
So Barb, it sounds like you guys looked into a couple options. Can we word it so that the language is so that the days are immediately adjacent to the holiday, or does that get too messy?
The way our ordinance read was that the days that would be allowed for fireworks discharge would be set by resolution every May.
I've seen it in other communities where they allow 1 or 2 days prior to. So if we're actually, where you ban that, I've had officers that spend hours chasing calls in community because we're not supposed to be shooting fireworks. And I looked, we had, I think PD provided the stats. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't look to change, but we had 6 calls and only 2 of them were in violation of the actual calls we received. 4 of the calls came during that time, and I know Nate's had some thoughts too. But there are a host of things that you can do, but if you totally ban them, like police are going to be constantly
I mean, I had 35 officers in the community, and we had 5 or 6 in on the 4th of July, and prior to, had all 5 or 6 officers per shift that did nothing but chase calls, because, it wasn't legal once we made it legal.
I'd be more interested in the before and after, like that language, because we even did Halloween, so we didn't have to do it every year. We just picked a date, right?
So there are other holidays, New Year's.
We don't allow them.
Okay, so,
We don't allow it, I've seen some cities that do.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like there, so 4th of July is the only one we allow, correct? Okay.
So there are other holidays.
We used to.
Okay,
The other things.
please.
I'm not, I don't want to. Mostly that, I wouldn't mind changing dates. We're very rural, right? So if you're right outside of town, and you're not, you're still gonna.
I'm not for that either. It's like, but I agree with you totally. It's like 7 days is a stretch. Most of the communities around us is 1 day or 0 days. Ames is 0. Yeah, Des Moines, some of the suburbs are 0.
So would it be possible to further this discussion after we get some data
Yeah.
and take a look at it?
We've got a year out.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the time to do it.
Yeah, I'm not, like I say, I'm not against looking at anything. I just like to have a little bit more information to make decisions on.
I didn't realize. Right. I didn't realize our.
I'm not
Way too much.
Okay, well, if I could ask staff to prepare a report with as many surrounding communities as you can find, the days would be of interest, the hours would as well. If you can scrape all of that data, that would be appreciated.
Even kind of cast it on one.
The days would be of interest, the hours as well. Okay, we'll get that information in the future and further discussion at that time. So thank you very much. Okay, moving along tonight, item 7B in the work session is parking regulations. Chief, please.
You guys, before I get to this, just on the fireworks thing, every now and again, someone will come to us, say they're having a block party or whatever. Maybe you want to think about that too, if you want to continue to allow it with city council permission or whatever, some sort of form, you know how that goes. Right, the gal over, yeah, the graduation had one, they came in, asked for permission, and just something to kind of think about there too, maybe we can.
When they come out and ask for that, you say, hey, if I talk to all the neighbors.
Right.
Surrounding area.
I'd ask them to do that. I'd say get council approval, get some times and dates, hey, you're gonna be hard done by whatever time the sun will go down, let's say sun goes down at 9, you're done at 9:30, that type of thing. So, that's for that type of situation, but we've only had that come up twice in about the last couple of years, so. Yeah, I think it'd be appropriate, especially how loud these things are when you're right underneath the darn things, I think you should be a good neighbor and at least ask, right? Yeah.
I had a dog.
I think it'd be appropriate. Especially how loud. Oh, yeah, and it takes like 3 days before they're right again. Yeah, so it's kind of a headache. Anyway, I guess I'm up here to talk about parking stuff too. I'm just kind of asking the council if you'd kind of look at the Cambridge city ordinance on parking in yards. So during the summertime, a lot of the municipal nuisance issues that I deal with are a lot of junk vehicles, grass, and then people who are just kind of parking essentially in their yards, Now, the language and the verbiage that we currently have is a little bit hard to find. I find it a little bit unclear, a little uneasy for me to even read. And I don't even think it addresses things like side yard, backyard, let's say like front yard. But Cambridge, as you read this, it's very clear. It'd be very easy for me to kind of help enforce and work with these people that are, essentially parking their cars in their yards. And I was hoping maybe the city council could like look at that and maybe looking into adopting it so I could have an easier time with this enforcement. I've seen a lot of people do, that move where they put the trailer on the side of their house, it's in the grass and whatever. It doesn't really bother too many people, whatever, but you know, if that's something that the council wants to address, there's really no, I don't have much teeth in it. It's very hard to find in the city code if it's even there at all. Right. Yeah, and it only calls for vehicles. It doesn't say like trailers, campers, things of that nature. So if this is something that the council wants to address, maybe we could do it with this ordinance here and kind of adopt something similar with similar verbiage and language.
So Ames has a also no front yard parking, no gravel, anything has to become concrete.
Right, Portland signs, yep.
It's no parking in that area.
Right.
And it gives specific areas as front yard too.
Yeah, yeah,
So you might want to check there.
sure, Anything's on.
The opposite for that. I don't want to ever go into the gym, but I also don't want to have somebody for a $20,000 pad to put a camper on the side of their house. I would just go loud.
I'm kind of with you on that. I just don't want to see,
Somewhere for that car.
right, and there, as long as there's care and maintenance to it, you know,
So
that's
what's
my
the
opinion.
difference between- Here's the problem with that.
Mm.
What's the difference between a gravel pad or they just cut the sod and then throw down some mulch?
I just don't want to see-
Like, yes, yeah, so basically, you just cut something out of your yard and then, or
Yeah.
if you park it enough times, it looks like.
Yep, yep.
So
Maybe we'd have to define what gravel is if that's our wishes, but
if you're actually gonna try to get away from front yard parking, I think you need to stick to a strict.
maybe we'd have to define what gravel is if that's our wishes.
I can tell you that. when you get a bunch of gravel in front of the cars, like all the time. Check all that sand ground off the street.
Well, it's the
They
same
still
way
car
with the
back.
dirt.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing, Jeff. I didn't know if that's. we
Hard
could do
surface,
a setback.
hard surfaces, usually what the code's always allowed, should be something that we can. That's one for concrete, not much.
Even if we did a setback, like our alleys, sitting in alleys, we do setback on concrete and then the rest is. I just don't want to force them not to be able to have some. Or concrete.
But you're also looking at the neighbors who have to put up with a trailer parked to the next to the house, or this car that is set for 3 months out in the front yard. So I see it both ways, but I'm just throwing it out. You're looking at ordinances, you look at Ames, it's like, it's very strict.
Sure.
And it's kind of like Cambridge, it's
Yeah.
very clear.
Do you have to for a certain depth for those?
I can recall that, probably at least a 4-inch.
I don't think if it's not part of your driveway, there's no requirement to any depth on any concrete. You can concrete anything you want in your yard at any depth you want. It has no code restrictions whatsoever. The only code restrictions is your driveway and a front line.
Yeah, I don't know what their code was.
Only reason I know that is I recently was asked about doing some concrete in my house, and that was the answer I got from our code enforcement is driveway and approach.
Report less than 4 inches, so 6, by 4 inches.
But they said anything else that you want to do is strictly up to you, and you can do it at whatever depth you want.
So just throw. Squeegee.
Well, and you know, some people have put that move down where they put a paver down
Yeah,
directly under, in, of course, we would like to probably avoid that. That's not
yeah.
really what the intent is here. So I guess I was.
would check out some.
Sure. Yeah, just kind of just taking your guys' temperature on this, seeing what you think of that move where people, that's the biggest move we see is people parking kind of beside there in the side yard. You know, there's not a lot of front yard parking. There's one property in particular where there's some, you know, parking in the grass, or he's laid down some gravel adjacent to his driveway. Okay, so you probably know exactly what, and so I just kind of seeing what the council's thoughts were on this, and maybe just kind of give this a look. I can look at Ames and maybe some other cities and see if maybe there's something
We're
that,
looking at this date as permanent parking versus temporary.
Well-
So I have people over to dinner and somebody parks in my yard for 2 hours.
Just can't park on the street.
Because I
Right,
can't
right.
park on the street, I have no place else. to
well, a
park.
good example of parking in your grass would be during the snow ordinance. Yeah, of course, we're gonna say okay with that. or sometimes like, let's say during graduation open houses, you know, I mean, things happen, I understand. And, you know, if I go by your Mr. Murphy's lawn, who typically never parks in his car in the grass, I'm gonna think, okay, he's got something going on. This will correct
Well,
itself
I
in 2
just
minutes.
ask you because
Yeah.
we have so many streets that are restricted
Yeah.
to parking as it is.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
if you're gonna have anybody over whatsoever, you gotta do something.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it's not like we're unreasonable. We're not cyborgs that are gonna, you know, eat your lunch for that type of thing, but, yeah, it's more the habitual thing. Or, you know, if you wanna just kind of keep your car in your grass all the time, nah, that's probably.
Yeah,
I will tell you, the teams ordinance was kind of designed for that purpose. Because of the parties, because of the football games and so forth. People parking in the yards, parking in the front yards for parties and stuff, or football games and stuff. So it was kind of designed for that. And then if you're gonna have people have parties and stuff, and you're gonna have neighbors complain that people parking in the yards.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of trying to legislate morality.
So-
Never works.
So are you gonna like not cater to the people that are the neighbors?
Like, no, overnight. And
It's a enforcement problem.
I mean, part of it is in America, when you buy a place, you tend to want to make it your place. You don't tend to want to have the city dictate every move you
You
make.
tend to wanna.
I don't want the
Be
city to
courteous to your
determine what
neighbors.
time I eat supper and what I eat every night either.
No,
True.
you wanna be courteous to your neighbors.
But you
But
do,
you just
but,
kind of like shooting off fireworks, you know? It's like you wanna be courteous to your neighbors.
and for the most part, I think most neighbors are. You get a bad apple once in a while. And that's-
Obviously, her neighbor was courteous and he was shooting off fireworks, leaving the stuff and not caring about the dogs or the people.
And I agree with that. I think
So
for
that's
the
what
most part,
ordinance,
most
that's
people
what
do the right
ordinance and
thing.
laws are for.
Yeah.
To make people in check of being courteous.
Long story short, yeah, this is a reaction to a very few, you know, not necessarily your neighborhood, but very few. And it's just nice to have a little bit more teeth when I send you know, hey, this is something you cannot do. And not only teeth, but just something that's easy to find, easily, you know, defined and clear. And, you know, it's like, hey, this is the way. it
Is
is.
that Rich Wood, that guy had his van in the yard for like 6 months, 8 months?
That might be one, but one currently now is on Highway 69. And there's a few around town that aren't near as bad or as visible, but yeah,
They're visible.
yeah.
So, since we brought this up,
That might be one, but
one currently now.
Mhm.
On Timberlane down toward north.
Mhm.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
They're parking trailers, trucks. so
Mhm.
forth. Also got on Prairie View Drive, evidently a guy, like a 500 blocks got a business. that,
Prairie View Drive, a mowing business.
Yeah. he's
Yeah.
got A business that he's running his employees out of, the trailers, parking and stuff. That's, that, you know, and one guy called me, and said that his daughter almost got hit walking between the cars.
Mhm.
So,
The residents on Timberline Lane, since that's out in the county, I'm not sure
but
exactly.
that part of that is in our city limits, that intersection there.
Right, but if they park on their, on the curb on their grass or whatever, I don't know if I can touch that as far as, putting a city ordinance on a county. Yeah,
I mean,
Which-
there's a lot of people in that.
yeah, I know.
Right.
Well, I know Jeff Peterson has worked with the county on that issue, and I don't know if he's made any headway or if it kind of. See, I don't see how we can enforce our city code on a county address.
Maybe we just expand the city out and include these people we got excluded to begin with. And make the city limits where it should be, and then we don't have the issue.
Well, it's,
I would agree with you on that, because that person got,
A carve out.
he got all the utilities from the city. Not having to pay city taxes. And if we pay city taxes on that property, we'd be getting a pretty good chunk. So,
I always thought that should be under discussion, that we square some of these things up and make it right.
yes.
I mean, it's law enforcement, it's snow removal, it's all sorts of different stuff that go into it.
It puts you in a hard spot.
yeah, it's, it's one of those things like, well, I see it and I don't love it either. And it's, you know, adjacent to our city and Deer Creek. And I just don't know if our city rules can be enforced on county property at all. I'd feel like we're overstepping our bounds. Anyway,
Hey, Nate,
yes,
just for clarification, you talked about, you know, clarity so that enforcement
Yeah,
was
yeah.
easier.
yeah.
Was the spirit of what you were asking initially for vehicles? Because then we started talking trailers, boats.
Right, that's part of it. So we
Or is it-
only say vehicles, whereas you can see in the Cambridge definitions, they say, you know, a vehicle is not limited to, but includes like a trailer, a camper, anything you can think of, a boat trailer. And that's kind of handy too. But that's if the city wants to do it. You know, if you want to include that type of thing, and even if we want to go down this road at all. Right now, all we are is sitting in the front yard. So you can do whatever you want in the side yard and the backyard. And regardless of concrete, you know, so just not a lot. There's one property that's causing some complaints, but not the property up north, but property on 69. It's generated a few complaints with some, you know, neighbors. And then, you know, I see every now and again, I'll see something that hasn't generated complaints. A lot of live and let live with the neighbors. So I don't interfere with it. But now that we do have this complaint with the residents on 69, it's just kind of hoping for a little bit more clear.
The only problem is if we're enforcing at 69, we need to enforce the whole.
Exactly. And that's the other part of it. And you'll see that they talk about, in our code, you know, the city approach has to be Portland concrete or whatever and all this stuff. And there's some properties that are not like that. There's some on Highway 69 that are actually, you know, I imagine that they're not part of this. They're probably grandfathered in some way. Haven't looked into that as hard. But that's essentially what I wanted to do. If you want me to get some more verbiage from other cities, I'm happy to do it. And then maybe you guys could think about essentially what you would want for this ordinance or for this type of, we'll just say, nuisance issue, if there even is a nuisance issue in your eyes. And then maybe we can adopt something or even draft something up ourselves and go from there.
Nate, as long as we're talking about parking regulations, is it permissible to park? I think technically it's called the B-side walk. We call it the parking. So between the sidewalk and the
apron,
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
In the grass, not in your driveway, not in your approach, but in the, what should be grass. Is that legal?
Are
to
we
park
talking
there?
between the sidewalk and the curb?
Yes, sir.
I would say no. I mean, that sounds pretty.
But, and the reason I ask is in the southwest part of town, that's a common parking spot for some individuals.
Is this,
Well, no, they're just,
No, they're between the grass and the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Between sidewalk and the street.
Oh.
City right away, which shouldn't.
would this be where there's no curb and gutter? Are we talking Old Town?
that's accurate.
Okay, yeah, see that part, I just kind of, that's always been that way since I knew I was a kid, and yeah, so I just kind of, yeah. Right, and maybe we say in this district, it's okay, you know, I mean, for me, it's always been okay, because it's just been okay since I was a kid, you know, so.
But that does open up quite a can of worms when you get into this parking, because.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at our rules now, I think it's pretty strict about what can be parked on the street to begin with.
Mhm.
And so what if I'm a truck driver by living, where the heck am I supposed to park if I can't park overnight out in the street? I gotta, you know, 1 ton is not a very big vehicle.
Right.
In society. I mean, you start thinking of how many vehicles are over 1 ton.
Yeah.
It's pretty restrictive to begin with for street parking. So then where do you go?
Yeah, that's the thing, you have to,
Leave your vehicle at the city limits and walk in? I mean,
yeah, or, you know, you have to make an arrangement with some guy, I don't know, it's tough, yeah.
So we got a parking ride, so yeah, we just leave it out there and we'll take a bus and shuttle you in.
Well, maybe you found a cottage industry you can take over, yeah. Anyway, that's, thanks for your time on that. If you have any questions, just shoot me an email or find me later tonight or anything like that.
You
and
know,
we'll
I wouldn't know where to park my bus.
talk. Well, I don't know. I mean, you're in a position that maybe you can take care of that issue, but anyway. Anyway, if anybody has any question or anything, just reach me. I'm easy to find and we'll go from there. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Chief. All right, that concludes our work session. There was one item I failed to mention previously during my comments. I was at a Story County meeting here this past week. And it was mentioned that the Ames Resource Recovery Plant, which is where all of Huxley's garbage is trucked to, due to maintenance costs, they will no longer, in the very near future, no longer be burning all of that refuse. So currently, a very significant portion of it gets burned. What can't get burned gets hauled to Boone. The Boone landfill will apparently be filling up within the year. So what's being discussed at this point is to make a transfer station in Ames and then haul everything down to southeast Polk County. The cost impact, a lot of logistics yet to be worked out. We do have a 28E with the City of Ames Resource Recovery Plant, but what that looks like moving forward, more information to come, but wanted to give you at least a heads up at this point, so. Boone? It's just that they can't haul, well, so the issue with Ames is it's costing them in excess of $1 million a year in maintenance. When you burn garbage, there's a lot of slag that builds up on the furnace. And it's
Some of
just,
that when they move to a gas burners versus coal burners, the gas doesn't burn as hot. So they got more residue with it.
so,
And I think Ames, at least some information that I received, I think they're hoping to try to keep that cost very similar to what paying for the transfer versus what the resource recovery. So, yeah, I think there'll be some meetings coming up where I think I want to speak. So we just need to pay Ames more to pay for the trash.
more info to come. All right, with that, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting. Motion by Roberts, second by Rigler. All those in favor, please respond with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the whole garbage deal, nobody wants to build a new. Ames was offered a piece of ground to put in a landfill. And they refused to do it because of the environmental impact.